Finding My Calling with Ugandan Women with Holly Williamson. We don't always know how lucky we are living in the modern world, living with the safety of our home, the food on the table, and just having our basic needs met every single day. There are women in other countries that are assaulted, beaten, violated, and so much more, and that don't have the chance to have a proper roof on their head or even food on the table every single day, 3 times a day. Today's episode is about a beautiful American woman who found her purpose through helping Ugandan women have a better life, igniting hope, healing, and empowerment in war-torn northern Uganda is what we're talking about today. Welcome aboard the podcast, A Woman's Spark with Janik, a place to show women how powerful they are and remind them of the spark that they carry, the strength that gets us up every time we fall, a place to feel seen and understood when we don't fully have what it takes to get back up on a hard day. I want to build a community of women that wants to help one another and inspire each and everyone to become stronger and more united, as we were born to be. Today, we're going to touch on the subject of building hope in Uganda through an American woman who found her purpose. Before we get started, here's some data about Ugandan women in the town of Padder in northern Uganda. For 20 years, the people of northern Uganda faced the atrocities of warlord Joseph Kony and his guerrilla army, the LRA. The LRA was infamous for kidnapping children and forcing them to commit atrocities, even amongst their own people. They were responsible for the abduction of over 20,000 children, the murder of over 100,000 civilians, and displacement of 1.5 million people within their 20-year reign of terror. Padder is a town in a district by the same name in northern Uganda and was a camp for displaced people during and after the war. Our founder and today's guest, Holly Williamson, first visited Padder in 2013, 7 years after the LRA had run out of the area. She saw the devastation that still permitted the community. There was isolation, distrust, and immense poverty. The women who were often left widowed or abandoned carried the heaviest of the burden as they attempted to care for their families and community. Holly felt a call to do something and founded the Women of Padder in Uganda. The program grew and brought women together. Many women were finally able to pay school fees for their children and not worry about being able to afford their next meal. The Women of Padder in Uganda, so TWOPU, which is the organization, TOPU, has gone to offer more programs and projects with goals of bringing hope, healing, and empowerment. She's here with us today to tell us about those women and maybe inspire you to give back and allow you a glimpse to find your own calling, no matter what it is. She will be with us when we come back. Welcome back to a Woman's Spark podcast with Janik. Today on our podcast, we're welcoming Holly Williamson. She was on her journey to find her calling when something came to her, and she is now more than 12 years into helping Ugandan women have a better life. She found her calling giving hope to other women who don't always have the same chance that we have here in the modern world. Please welcome our spark of the day, Holly. Hi.
Hi, Janik. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on board. And what an inspiring journey. Can you tell us about how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I never would have dreamed that I would be where I am today when this all started. It was back in 2013 that I became an empty nester, and that's a journey for women, all everywhere when everybody leaves and goes on with their lives, just like you were supposed to do, raise them and let them fly. But
Right
sometimes.
now is actually the start of college and university, so a lot of women right now could probably relate with the empty
Yes.
nesters.
Yes, and it has the fun and exciting part to it. It also has a little twinge of sadness. And so I had also been through a stage where I was caretaking for parents and in laws, and we had several that had passed away. And I was just kind of at a transition point in my life, trying to figure out what God had for me next, not knowing really what to do. So I heard about an opportunity through my church to go to Uganda on a mission trip, and felt led to go there. So I went with them and met the people in Padere. The pastor of the church that we were meeting with was very desperate for help with economic help. They had started a church, and there were probably about 20 women, and they had made some beads and some little scarves and things like that that they wanted us to purchase. And I was happy to purchase and help them. And then the pastor had said, but I need you to keep coming back. And so I wasn't quite sure about that. This was just, not too many years after the war and the camps. And life was very difficult, and people were dying. They were starving to death and dying of disease. And he just was desperate for help. Um, After a lot of conversations with my husband and prayer, we committed to help for a while and see what happened.
Mhm.
I had never done anything like this, so I was going in blind. And of course, they really hadn't either. So we just decided we'd try and see what happened.
And
The
if you don't mind me asking, what was what was it inside you, that spark that you went, "Oh, I really have to come in here, and this is my calling."
Well, I really just felt like God was providing me an opportunity. I could tell God was at work there, that things were happening. I wasn't wanting to like create something on my own. I felt like the need was there. And the pastor really kind of kept after me. Um, and I gave him a lot of reasons why it probably wouldn't work. And he just said, I understand, but we're desperate and people will die today from hunger. And I just didn't feel okay with that.
Uh-huh.
I knew that I was at a transition point, and I just felt like God was saying, step out in faith and let's try this. And so we did. And the ladies were very distrusting of each other and very scared of people and very isolated. The way that the war had gone was it was very much where they would take one child from a family and say, kill the other family. And so people just didn't speak anymore. There was just a high distrust among them. So, really, we spent about 3 years just learning how to work in community and dividing them up into groups and making them responsible for providing the jewelry that I requested at the quality I requested,
Uh-huh.
working with all of their ladies in their group, and then they could get paid. And so that's where we started in 2013, and we did that for probably 3 or 4 years before growing and
Okay.
moving forward.
And when you first started, how many women, 'cause it's mostly women, right? So,
Right.
how many women were a part of it, and how many are a part of it now?
So we started with probably about 20 women, and we have almost 1,000 women in our program now.
That's amazing.
It has definitely grown. They participate in all different programs, or maybe in a couple of our programs, and then we also have about 115 full-time staff members on our campus.
Okay. And what did you see then that you can see now has changed, like, in terms of physical, state of affairs?
Right. Yeah, so much has changed. At that time, Padere was really like a ghost town, and the women were, very poorly dressed, many children naked, and a lot of distended stomachs and that kind of thing that you see with I don't know, parasite infections and starvation and that kind of thing. And you can just look at the way the women are dressed nowadays. They have on, beautiful clothes and bright colors like you would picture in Africa. Their children are usually clothed, and people are just better. Uh, Oh, better fed, and the malnutrition rate is definitely dropping. We definitely had to do a lot of training on that, on, how to care for your children and how to, do it in a hygienic way. And because, most of these ladies still have to go to boreholes, walk, to a borehole, pump water, put it in a jerry can, take it back home. It's not like they're in homes, where we live with running water and those kinds
Like,
of, yeah, things that
and
are very helpful.
what were the biggest hurdles? Because you said when you got there, people were having a hard time trusting even each other. So
Yes.
a complete foreigner who has no knowledge of what's going on here other than the pastor. Uh, First of all, what hurdles did you have to go through in
Well,
terms of
at
when you
first, I
started over
think,
there?
yeah, I think the women, it was almost like they trusted me more than they trusted each other. And I'm sure it
Wow.
was just because of being abused for 20 years by all different people. And I think, I stepped in with the pastor who obviously had credibility with them already. He'd been working with them for about a year.
Okay.
And he was the one really, pushing me forward. And so I think that really helped. Um, the hard part was just getting them to a point where they did talk to each other, they communicated, they didn't take things, like seed beads or, certain paper beads or something, but left it all for the group so they could actually produce the work that they were supposed to. And to now, where, I mean, you have women, I mean, they're just like us. They're kidding each other. They're talking nonstop. They all work now under a pavilion, and they have music, and there's children running around, and it's just joyful to see how far they have come.
You've gone from fear to giving them hope. So that's absolutely beautiful. Probably for you to see, but thank you for doing that. I'm sure on their behalf, but also it just it's beautiful that you bring that much hope into a community that probably didn't see any prior your arrival.
They really didn't. And they're in a very isolated area of northern Uganda anyway, because there are no like paved roads into Padere, and
Uh-huh.
so it's very difficult to get there, and people don't just pass through, which also is limiting from an economic standpoint. So we
Mhm,
really had to work hard to help create business.
mhm. I wanna wind back a little bit because I wanna know about Holly Williamson. I wanna know how this jump, this this leap of faith changed your life.
Well, it has changed my life for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I had had an interest in Africa, and I had followed a couple of bloggers that were missionaries and that type of thing in Africa, but I never dreamed that I would do something like that. Um, and I think, really, I just think it was God inspiring me to do it. I don't consider myself like a brave person or something like that. I think I went into it with a lot of, fear and intrepidation and knowing I had no clue what I was doing. And, honestly got um, just quite a bit of discouragement from people in the US about doing this. And will it produce something sustainable? Will it, really make it? Is it going to last? And so I had a lot of mixed feelings, honestly, and was really scared. But I just felt like God was pushing me forward and
Yeah.
just felt something inside that was just saying, go ahead and just take the next step. And so that's what I tried.
I think and you tell me how that was for you, but I think when you're seeing your calling right in front of you or in arm's reach or into it, I think all your whole body, your cells inside your body speak to you loud and clear. and it's kind of something that you can't backtrack on. Well, you can, but your body will scream it out loud to you. So you kind of have to jump into it no matter how fearful you are of it. What do you think of that?
I think that's exactly right. I just think
Yeah.
there was something inside saying, "Step forward." And, um, and so the steps were little in the beginning and, then got bigger as we moved along. And, really, even since 2020, things have really blown up even more.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about that? 2020. What's
So,
blown
yeah,
up?
I know, the year of COVID, we grew a lot. So, we bought some property right next to that church, and we started building out some buildings so that we would have somewhere for the ladies to work, which I call the pavilion, the bee project. By then, we had also started our pig project. So, we handed out female piglets to the women that were part of our program, and they were taught how to raise them and care for them and breed them. And then we purchased piglets back if they wanted to sell them to us. Um, and so then we needed piggeries on our campus, and we built up two enormous piggeries. And we keep anywhere from maybe 200 pigs at a time to probably 800, depending
Wow.
on when we're buying and from the ladies, because there's only certain times of the year we can do that because of a disease that pigs are inclined to. Then we decided we needed maize to feed our pigs, and that it would be more economical to grow it ourselves. We decided, nope, let's get the ladies to grow it and we'll purchase it from them. So we started the maize project where their whole family comes together and signs a contract, and they grow at least 1 acre of maize and then for 2 seasons every year, and they sell it back to us. Whatever we have left over from the pigs, and we turn into a maize flour, and it's called posha. And we use it to feed our families and the staff on campus and our Mercy families who we care for. And then we sell the rest. We sell our pigs to the market. We have a restaurant in Padare, and so that's one of our ways. We also have a butcher in town that we sell our pork through, and we are in the process of really needing to step out into the next village to try to make that market bigger for all the pigs that we have to sell.
Wow. I mean, the word that just keeps flashing in my head is giving them purpose. And that must be huge for you, but for them, but this episode is more about you like finding your calling. So what is it like to find your calling and give people purpose? That must
Well,
be just beautiful.
it is beautiful, and it's a beautiful journey. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's been an easy journey
It
because
never
it's not
is.
fun. Running a business halfway around the world in a different culture and a different language is very interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful. I mean, probably 75% of the 115 full-time staff people we have never had a job in their lives.
Wow.
They've just gardened and tried to make food. The area where we are in particular, so many relief organizations have been in and out because right before the Coney War, they had Idi Amin as the ruler of Uganda, who was extremely brutal as well. And so there's just been, relief organizations in and out, but people didn't stay and teach them what to do. And so
Uh-huh.
most of these people have grown up in the middle of wars, hiding in the bush from, soldiers or in a camp. And what they needed was somebody to spend and do the hard work of teaching them how then to take care of themselves, how
Hmm.
to take care of their families and their children and make an income and make this long lasting so that they can sustain themselves in the future.
Wow. I'm sure you're inspiring them because you gave them the time of day. You gave them the little time that they needed to just really find some kind of purpose on this planet in this lifetime. So before
Well,
we
I tell
take it,
you
yeah,
one
sorry.
one thing that somebody said that broke my heart in a way that just speaks to, I mean, our world, and that is they said, that I came in and I didn't treat them like animals. And, I know, and that just broke my heart, and the particular lady that said it had been through a particularly difficult life, and, they have many husbands that have multiple wives where there's just so much injustice that's done, and, um oh, she's such a sweetheart. She actually works in our restaurant now, and, that just it's those kinda statements that you just walk away and think, "Yes,"
I
even though
just I just
they're
can't
not
even come close to comprehend this kind of statement and how she feels. Wow. You're the
no.
first one that didn't treat us like an animal. Um, and if I wanna link that to my final question before we take a quick break. For anyone who would like to give back, to anyone who would like to nowadays, since COVID, we've all been indoors, keeping to ourselves. And people want to give back, but less with money. They want to give back of who they are and what they can
Right,
provide to other people because we can and we want to make a difference. And I've
right,
been speaking to a lot of women around the world who just want to give back. Just by coming on this podcast and telling their story, they want to somehow give back to people. So back to my question is, for anyone who's listening right now and they are inspired by what you're saying and what you've done, um, what are the steps that they could take to help another person or a community like that so far away, or just take a first step? What would you recommend?
Well, I think there are so many opportunities right at our doorstep, as well as in our community or our state or our country or even out of our country. There are just multiple levels of people that need help. Some people need help physically. There's some people that need help spiritually, and there's all different ways I think that we can do that. I think we have to have stopped long enough and spent time quietly sitting and praying and thinking through um, what is going on around us and what has sparked our heart. And I think that's a good first step.
And what about, um, because you went abroad? Some people might just want to do that. They want to go abroad and they're inspired by your story. I know you went to your church and you had a trip. Uh, would you say just looking around your community? What would you recommend if they want to go abroad and help abroad, as opposed to just contacting an association that's already created? What's your suggestion here?
Well, I think first you just have to go. And so to find that opportunity to go, either through their church, and there are so many people and organizations and ministries that do sponsor mission trips and that kind of thing. I even take women in particular with me on trips. And so there are lots of opportunities. I think you have to just search it out to go abroad. But I do think you have to go first. And um, I think an important thing that someone had taught me along the way was to, once you're there, to see that God is already at work and there's already things happening and that you feel the pull to it, so that you don't just go in and try to create something good one time and then you never go back, because that honestly just destroys them,
It has.
because it's the hope and then the drop. And so I
And
think
they've
it's
been dropped so many times already that, they
right.
don't need another person to do that.
Right. So I think you have to go in with somebody that is working the area or knows something about it, and see what leads up from there. Like I said, I do take women with me. I go 3 times a year. So there's another opportunity if they want to reach out to me as well.
Thank you. Holly, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this topic.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Women's Park podcast with Janik. We're here with Holly Williamson. She first visited Padere in 2013, 7 years after the LRA had been run out of the area. She saw the devastation that still permeated the community. There was isolation, distrust, and immense poverty. The women who were often left widowed and abandoned carried the heaviest of the burden as they attempted to care for their families and community. Holly felt a call to do something and founded the Women of Pedare in Uganda. She found her calling in allowing other women to rise and sparkle. Please welcome back Holly. Hi, Holly.
Thank you so much. Hi, Janik.
First of all, I'd like you to tell the listeners what positive has come out of all the hard work you've put into this organization.
Well, the positive is it's not only changed my life, it's changed my kids' lives, their spouses, their children, my husband. It has been a family commitment.
Mhm.
It has been a large commitment just getting there 3 times a year, plus running the organization here in the US as well. But there has been so many people that have been able to come along this journey and that have supported us. And just to be able to see all of that here, even in the United States, and how they've helped transform lives by joining us. Um, and as far as Uganda, I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, even if we did nothing else in Padere but have the malaria fund, which is part of our Mercy program, um, that would have been a win, honestly. Malaria is a major killer. In Uganda, they're the second worst nation in the world. And Padere, where they are, has an incredibly high number, the people that die. When we got there, I mean, people just didn't have the money to go to a clinic to get tested and treated. And
And probably wasn't close by, it's probably pretty far away.
yes, and so children died, and they're more susceptible as well as pregnant women and then the elderly, and so people died regularly. We started the malaria program because I kept driving over to the church and seeing children laid out on the ground and stopping and picking them up, and you could tell as soon as you touched them, they had fever. They just weren't able to make it home. And so that's what birthed the idea of the malaria fund. So we will basically test and treat anyone that comes to our campus and needs help. And that has just been really miraculous to look at that and just see the lives that have been saved and, just the support that we've had to help make that happen on a
How
regular basis.
how do you get all these funds? You have like you create these movement, but how do you get the funds?
Well, you just kinda, again, step out in faith, and, we started fundraising when we became a 501(c)(3) in 2017, and so, we just started with our friends, and we just keep doing and going. We have one big annual fundraiser here in Austin, Texas, every fall, and, we do all different kinda campaigns throughout the year, and I talk to people and try to meet more and more people and just spread the word and ask people to join us and step up with us
Okay.
and help
Ho
be part of that saving lives.
Well, you said your family got on board. How did that change their life, and how did they want to get on board?
Well, it really has changed their lives. My younger son, who's now 31, helped me set up the whole glass bead department. So he was an artist and had gone to the School of Art Institute in Chicago and was a glass blower. And so we wanted to do glass beads, like from recycled broken bottles and stuff. And so through this amazing process, 3 trips later, he got our ovens going. He got them, lit up, and us working with 3 women and 1 man there in the beginning, and just starting trying to figure out how to make these glass beads. This is one of them that I'm wearing right here, and
Very
it's
nice.
literally made from Coke bottles, and same with earrings. And so that, was a huge change in his life. And just being able to see the success that he was able to bring to them.
I'm curious to know, did he choose his calling, his path at school based on your endeavor in Uganda?
No, he did not. That was
Okay.
just a blessing from the
It's a
Lord.
blessing. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
I wouldn't
what a
know.
coincidence.
I know, I know. And, um, and they just, the glass blowing team continues to just grow and do more and more beautiful things. And so that was really fun to get to experience that with Ashlyn, my younger
It was
son.
re- it was really your calling because I just find it beautiful that life, you know, this
Oh,
was given to you and your son is already in a field that's going to bring exactly what the community in Uganda needs. It's just life is just so well made.
I know
Is
it.
made perfectly well. So
I know it. And we've had so much help from my older son in all different ways. He is in the building business, and he's helped us with the layout of some of the buildings and fundraising here in the U.S. And so it's definitely been a family project, and I just appreciate their support and love because it is a time commitment for
yeah.
me and from
Well,
them and for them, and
Well,
so.
onto that, how do you remain the best version of yourself? Because it probably is requiring a lot of time, a lot of attention, a lot of care to be there and not, like you said earlier, you don't just hop into an endeavor like that and just back out because they
Right.
are relying on you now. So how do you remain the best version of yourself, but also take care of you and your family through all that?
Yeah, in the beginning, what I would tell them is at the end of the year, I'd say, okay, we're going to do it for one more year. And they would all clap and cheer. And then finally, after about 5 or 6 years, and we became a 501(c)(3), I was like, okay, we're here for good. Let's just go ahead and say it. So we did. And as we grew in 2019, I did have to hire some people to help me. So I have two US staff people, and we work here out of my house. And so just with the bead project alone, because in the fall time, from pretty much October to Christmas, there's craft fairs and sales and church deals and we're dragging tables and putting up tents and selling all of this jewelry. And so it just got to a point where I had to have help. And they've been, wonderful in helping with that. And we've really grown since 2019. And we also sell it to retailers at wholesale also now. And so that whole thing has blossomed. And I certainly couldn't do it without Cassidy and Isabella here on my staff in the US. Um, and, I have 4 grandchildren that live in the Austin area, and, both of my sons are local more or less, and, their wives and their families, and so, um, I definitely make time for all my grandbabies, and so I see everybody as much as I can, and also work. I mean, it's pretty much full time. So,
Mhm.
and Cassidy and Isabella are full time. So, there's a lot of work going in, but we definitely try to take time off. And yeah, just getting to Badera is a 20, yeah, drive to Houston, 3 hours, fly for 24 hours, and then we have an 8 hour drive to Badera. So
Wow.
yeah, it's in and of itself is kind of a lot.
An
So
endeavor.
yes, and so I do
Mm.
exercise every day. I also, spend time quietly with the Lord every day, and without being filled up, I can't go and spread it. So I definitely make time.
If people want to get involved with you, alongside you, or donate, where can they do that?
So they should go to our website. It's www.thewomenofpaderuganda.org. And they should also try to follow us on Instagram. We post regularly, and it's at the Women of Padare, Uganda. Um, and it's really fun. I'm fixing to leave for Padare on Tuesday, and so when I'm there. I post every day what things that are happening while we're there, and it's really fun to follow along the trip, and you kind of get a feel for what all is going on there. So they should check out our website and our Instagram as well.
Do you have any other plans for the Women of Padar? Something you've always wanted to do for them that you'd like to put together?
We grew so much and so fast for several years there. I have felt like I've been having to catch up to them and catch my breath and figure it all out because I want us to do whatever we're doing really well. I don't want to grow so fast that we just keep, making it bigger, but we're not becoming experts in our different areas. And so really that is what we've been focusing on this year and last year. And that is just fine tuning everything, figuring out how to do it efficiently, how to do it the best way, that grows the women up as well, where we're not always, giving things, but then they have to give in and grow with it so that they can become sustainable. And really, I think that's part of the teaching that we're obligated to present to them so that they can really and truly just take care of themselves,
Right.
um, and ultimately, us not have such a big footprint there. And so I don't have another really big project at this point. I feel like we've got 9 projects, and that's probably all we can
That's
handle. But
You're doing
really,
great already.
my biggest goal for them is for them to one day feel like, "Holly, you can go. We've got this. We know how to fish now. You don't have to teach us anymore." And, that would be the biggest joy, honestly. I don't know if that's possible. We'll probably always be involved, but, that would be a huge excitement, and that they spread it, out. And we even now are reaching further and further out into the bush to some people that we're running into that have never gotten any kind of mental help post war, which
Mhm.
now that's been like 15 years. And so we have 2 counselors on staff, and they are doing counseling way, probably 45-minute drive out into the bush further from Padere. So it's there is a lot, that can continue to happen, and we just do the next best step and hope that we're able to continue to transform and change people's lives for the better.
Mm. Before we end the podcast, what would be your biggest wish for the woman of Padere in Uganda?
I think the biggest wish for my ladies is just that they would take what they've learned, they would teach the next generation, and that it would be much easier for that next generation not having grown up in the bush during the wars. And where they own the women up there and they go ahead and keep spreading it out. And uh, I think that would be the best thing of all, just to see them teaching that next generation stepping up, doing what they saw and replicating that and making a big difference in that area and let it spread. All of
Mm,
Uganda has great needs. And so we're, in one small area, but we do what we can for the betterment of everyone. And I just pray that they take it and make it their own and spread it everywhere.
thank you so much, Holly. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing, well, your journey and what the women of Padere are they can provide now. And so anyone who wants to get involved, like we said earlier, can you repeat the website for us?
Yes, it's www.thewomenofpadereuganda.org. Instagram is just at the Women of Padere Uganda.
Which we'll put in a summary as well so you can go on the links. Thank you so much,
Right.
Holly.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for coming on.
Janet.
All you listeners out there who want to give back, know that it's possible to make a difference, even from a distance. This is it for us for today. Tune in every week on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to get involved with the Be Guided, Be Inspired community, or you want to share what kind of story you have gone through, or you want to share it with other women who are experiencing something a bit difficult and want to help other women, just come and meet us on the platform at www.beguidedbeinspired.com and we'll connect together. Thank you. Let's change the world one woman at a time, one conversation at a time. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye. See you next time.